Well, yes, that's right. It's the first time that the term fossil fuels is used in a COP summit agreement, and after a lot of disagreements and agreements, finally there is some update that has come by. Well, what has happened is they have spoken about transitioning away from fossil fuels versus the earlier expectation of phasing out of fossil fuels. Now remember, the previous draft did not contain fossil fuels at all, so it did draw a lot of disagreement and disapproval from the likes of United States, European Union and a lot of other nations as well. Now that this has come by, there is some relief because, as I said earlier, this is the first time that the word fossil fuel has been used. Apart from that, not only transitioning away from fossil fuel has been a first time thing in this particular agreement, they've also spoken about phasing out inefficient fossil fuel subsidies which do not address energy poverty. So this is a first as well in this agreement. The other provisions, they were largely understood and they were largely agreed upon as well. Something like tripling of renewable energy capacity, something that all the nations agree to. The other one would be doubling the global average annual rate of energy efficiency improvements. This is by 2030, accelerating towards phase down of coal usage, and that is something that is surprising as well because this is something that developing nations did not agree to so much, but there has been an approval here. Accelerating efforts globally towards net zero emission energy systems, and lastly they also spoke about accepting net zero technology as well, and technology transfers were also spoken of. Now I was just going through the draft and over last 12 days whatever has happened at COP. So some of the things which really stood out here, they operationalized the loss and damage fund for the first time ever. There were pledges of around $700 million, but it fell short. It started with a bang, but then there were not many updates on loss and damage. Total estimates of fund needed as per estimates is around $400 billion, so it's way short of what the world really needs right now. There was no accountability for historic polluters, the bigger companies, the developed nations, the likes of US and China as well. There was exclusive focus on rapidly phasing down unabated coal versus fossil fuel. So yes, fossil fuels is used, but nobody thought that coal usage would be phased out as well. They spoke about funding the food sector to the tune of $7 billion, so that was a positive takeaway. But the biggest one, of course, the usage of fossil fuel in a COP agreement that has never been done.